Hi guys, welcome to our YouTube channel. Have you ever imagined being as smart as Albert Einstein himself? Imagine having absolute wisdom that you can practically do whatever you want to within the laws of physics. Today we will talk about a guy who increased his mental capacity to the utmost potential. Daryl Witherspoon, who works at the Strafford University, helps assist students settle into their various departments while also doubling as a mailman. While napping in his room with the TV playing in the background, his phone rings and he takes it up to speak with his mom. They exchange pleasantries. She asks about the job he's looking forward to securing. Daryl explains that there's massive competition for the job, however he is the top contender. His mother then expresses concern about his financial condition, but Daryl assures her that he's fine. Later, the tuition office for the university calls Daryl to discuss paying his fee. But with a fake voice he tells them that someone killed Daryl. Daryl does multiple jobs to increase his income. He provides a lot of blood at the blood bank, which eventually knocks him out. He also works hard to get more sperm at the sperm bank. Next, he goes to an African hair braiding business to donate his hair, but the owner pushes him out. At night, Tim LaFleur, Daryl's roommate, walks in and says that the landlord has asked for his share of the rent. Tim then says that he's giving up pleasures like eating meat, drinking alcohol, and even having sex. When Daryl laughs at his friend, Tim LaFleur responds that one must go through pain and deprivation in order to truly feel content. The following day, Scott, a classmate of Daryl's, approaches him in the cafeteria where Daryl works another job. Scott extols his virtues as the ideal applicant for the position, a job both Scott and Daryl are pursuing. Scott makes fun of Daryl as he becomes noticeably uncomfortable when an attractive female from their university campus enters the cafe. Then, Randall Tyson from the Smythe-based corporation speaks about the position for which Scott and Daryl are competing in, when in an economics class taught by Professor Engel. Tyson also discusses the requirements for the position. This includes having a perfect GPA, participating in social activities, being athletic, and having a connection to the company, all of which Scott possesses. He also mentions that the business will select a winner from 5 finalists. After this lecture, the lecturer starts his class, and Scott and Daryl have an argument about the same subject. Then comes the ice hockey rink where Daryl begs his coach to give him a chance to play so he can be qualified for the position because he has never played. The coach rejects the idea despite Daryl's repeated pressure. Daryl then begs his roommate Tim, who is also the hockey team's captain, to convince the coach. Unfortunately, when the coach gives him a chance as a stopper, Daryl is unable to save one goal and is repeatedly beaten. During the seminar, a woman tells them about a new drug that can heighten the 5 human senses to a new level, but the students start to leave the workshop as she explains the side effect. Tim approaches Daryl in the following scene and expresses concern about his financial situation, but Daryl reassures him while cleaning the campus grounds. By the time she finishes her presentation, the student starts to leave the session as she discusses the negative consequences of the medication. Daryl, who is the only person in the room napping, consents to the test for the sake of the extra money. He then goes to Dr. Thomas Whedon's office, where the doctor explains the drug to him. Daryl must inject 6 cc of it into his buttocks each night before bed, and the doctor forewarns him about the confusion he may experience during the first few uses. The following night, Daryl attends a KZ frat party to gain new experience for his resume. He runs into Janice again and asks her out. She accepts, but he requests that Scott pledge him as a Kappa. When Daryl is hurt and leaves the party, Scott denies telling him that he doesn't fit in, claiming that everyone else in the fraternity is boring. When he returns to his room, however, he injects the first dosage of the drug, feeling frustrated with his predicament. The following morning, Professor Engel starts distributing question papers for the exam. When the exam starts, Daryl starts to notice the effects of the drug that were previously unnoticeable. The sound of a pencil ticking, a watch ticking, a classmate chewing, and the light reflecting from a diamond necklace start to bother him. He gets visibly uncomfortable, his face expression and body language change, he explodes from all the reactions, and when the professor asks him to stop, he exhibits symptoms of Tourette's. When Daryl complains to Dr. Whedon about the condition, the doctor tells him that the treatment is effective and that the discomfort would pass when Daryl's neurological circuits adapt to the medication. He also counsels him to train his senses so that he can master them. When Tim leaves the room, Daryl tries to control his senses and succeeds in doing so. He can now switch his attention from his regular sense to his superpower sense. Daryl is in a bad situation because he cannot control his senses even after blocking those sense organs. He is also discouraged because he did not make it as a finalist for the Smythe-based job. In the following scene, when the Smythe base is celebrating with their finalists, Daryl, a kitchen staff member for the university's program, uses his enhanced senses to dazzle the judges despite not being a finalist. Scott is shocked when the panelists choose Daryl as the sixth finalist for the job competition. Later that evening, Daryl visits the KZ fraternity house where the board members pledge him as a Kappa despite Scott's best efforts to stop them while he is happy for him. Through his enhanced hearing, Daryl notices Janice and Tanya entering a restroom. He learns that Janice wants a smart, kind, and down-to-earth man. When they emerge, he greets them and, in an effort to win Janice over, uses his sense of smell to compliment her scent. He then offers to take her to her room and takes the chance to get to know her. Soon, Daryl and Janice make plans for dinner. Meanwhile, Tim sees Daryl using the injection at their apartment and assumes he's become addicted to drugs. The following day, Daryl skates expertly and impresses the coach. He also sees a puck flying in their direction and catches it before anyone gets hurt. The coach is amazed and lets him on the team this time around. Daryl saves every goal, surprising everyone and impressing the coach. The scene then cuts to an inter-college ice hockey match where the commentators express that Daryl had become addicted to drugs. In the next scene, he goes to the Smythe-based office for an interview. He listens to Scott's interview, and once Scott comes out with Tyson, Daryl fills in the information Scott had missed earlier. During his interview, Daryl tells Tyson that he can exceed the board's expectations for the job. Tyson informs him that the board will make the decision 5 days after the final competition and gives Nick's game tickets to Daryl so that he can spend some quality time with Bob Bellwether, another board member. He also wants Daryl to impress Arlo Vickers, a potential client of their company. Daryl agrees to it confidently. Later that night, Daryl cooks for Janice, and they enjoy a good dinner. Again, he impresses her, quoting Langston Hughes, whose poem Tim is reading in the other room. As Janice kisses Daryl, he releases very quickly, disappointing her. The next night, Daryl brings Janice along and surprises his family. His mother praises his character to Janice as Daryl talks to his siblings. Before leaving, he gives some cash to his mother to help with the household expenses, and she gets emotional. Later in the dorm, Tim finds Daryl using the drugs again and asks him about the medicine. Daryl lists the positive results he's experiencing, but Tim thinks he's become addicted. To prove himself right, Daryl uses the double dose this time. The following day, he wakes up with a numb feeling in his arms and legs. He loses his balance while trying to walk. Tim sees him lying on the floor and calls a support group for help. Daryl tells Dr. Thomas that he exceeded the dosage earlier and discovers that a serotonin boost has desensitized his receptors. The doctor informs him that only 4 of his senses work at a time due to overuse, and the 5th one constantly switches. He also says that Daryl needs to stay in bed for 3 days, as the only way to fix the problem is for the drug to leave the system. Unfortunately, Daryl has a competition nearing and is very scared. The scene cuts to Madison Square Garden. For the Knicks game, Daryl sits with Tyson and Bellwether to watch the game. As Vickers arrives at the location, the game begins and Daryl starts to feel uncomfortable. First, he stops hearing and mistakes everyone standing up for the national anthem for a chance to get beers. Once he returns, his eyes get blurry and he sits in a different seat talking to himself. Vickers finds the situation amusing and keeps laughing. His eyesight returns, but a player throws Daryl to the court for insulting him. The date doesn't go as planned. Fortunately, despite the crisis, Tyson informs Daryl that they're still getting Vickers' account as they return from the game. Later, Tim sees a girl going into their room and runs to inform the support group. Meanwhile, the girl Lorraine, Janice's sorority sister, flirts with Daryl. However, Daryl has a problem listening to what she says. When his hearing returns to normal, she starts to kiss him and get intimate. His eyes get blurry. Slowly, his body starts to go numb, and he cannot feel anything. Lorraine is disappointed as she doesn't see Daryl getting aroused. As she leaves, Janice enters the room to find Daryl lying on the floor in his underwear. She gets upset and leaves. Meanwhile, Tim brings some medics to the room, but Daryl has already passed out. They try to give him an epinephrine shot, thinking that he's overdosed, but Daryl wakes up before they can. He confronts Tim as he lays out his concerns about Daryl being an addict. Daryl tells him the truth about the medicine, but Tim is not convinced. Later, Daryl goes to the Kappa house to see Scott making a punch. Scott offers him a glass and he drinks it. Everyone is shocked to see Daryl gulping it down without a problem, as they know it has a pungent taste. However, he ingests it quickly due to the lost sense of taste. Scott then accuses Daryl of being the weakest link for the fraternity he makes. Daryl sits in a chair and hits him with a stick, but Daryl doesn't feel a thing. The following morning Stratford has an ice hockey match with another university, and everyone hopes that Daryl will help them win again. Unfortunately, his condition derails the game and they lose. Later Daryl goes to Janice's room to confess his love to her, however he confuses Tyson with his daughter Janice. When the door opens due to his blurry eyes, once his eyesight gets normal, Janice leads him out of the room and scolds him for pretending to be a good person. Daryl tries to defend himself and assures her that everything will get back to normal soon, however she does not trust him and leaves. In the next scene, Daryl goes to a pub to find Tim. He asks Tim to help him study for the final round of interviews for the job, and Tim agrees. Meanwhile, Scott's dad arranges a group of high-profile advisors to help him. Daryl focuses on studying even though his conditions worsen, while Scott treats his advisors like his caterers. On the day of the competition, as Daryl gets out of his car, his eyes get blurry and he asks a homeless man for help, but he takes him to an alley and beats him. The man then takes Daryl's clothes, leaving him naked. Somehow Daryl reaches a clothing store and gets new clothes. He's shocked once he reaches the office looking at his new flashy interview inappropriate attire. Suddenly his tongue goes numb and he urinates himself. Looking at the color of his urine, he realizes that the drug has left his system. Daryl reaches the competition room and defends his outfit by faking an allergy to other materials except for polyester. The competition begins, and by the end of the session, Daryl and Scott compete against one another. The final debate gets heated and both of them perform equally well. Professor Engel asks them a question for the tiebreaker, but Scott fails to elaborate on the answer. Fortunately, Daryl presents the solution very well and Tyrone offers him the job. However, Daryl feels guilty and says that he's come all this way by cheating. He confesses to taking medicine and how he used it to become the finalist. The revelation shocks everyone. Daryl tells the whole story to his family and friends. Tyrone gives him a job at Smythe-based mailroom and encourages him to work his way up. The movie ends a year later when Daryl becomes a junior analyst, patches things up with Janice, and gets his family to a new neighborhood. That concludes today's edition. I hope you enjoyed it. Kindly hit the subscription button to get more of our contents. You can also leave comments for us on what you might like us to talk about next. See you again next time. Until then, it's goodbye.